Why do some people bounce back after life delivers a very nasty blow while others suffer for years? You may know some people like this. Well, our next guest says there's a secret to this that we can apply in our everyday lives, really change your life around. So Gini Gentry is here with insight from her new book. The book is called Dreamin' Down Heaven. Good morning, Jenny, in purple, my favorite color, and you're matching today.
Good morning, love. Nice to be here.
Good to have you here. Tell me a little bit about what this book is about, Dreamin' Down Heaven. What does this mean?
Well, it's the title really was like, how do we actually bring heaven to earth? You know, it's one of those expressions that we all talk about of how do you bring heaven to earth? Well, it's not a spiritual book exactly. It's the idea of having a heavenly experience while we're still here, as opposed to having to die and go someplace where there's angels, you know?
Okay, so then how do we bring heaven to earth?
Well, it's really a matter of how is it that we are going to dream our lives. You know, we think that we have this very standard way of looking at things that everybody agrees on.
What do you mean by that?
Like a standard reality. In fact, there are 6 or 7 billion people on the planet, and every one of them is dreaming reality very differently. You know, how you see things is very different than how I see them.
Obviously, which is probably explains why we have so much conflict in the world right now, because people do have their own perception, their own reality. But what do you, I mean, we do have that, so then how do you fix that?
How you fix it is taking responsibility for how it is that you are going to play in the world. You know, we have so much fear that governs so many of our thoughts, and yet the fear takes us away from our happiness, and we forget that we have the power to choose how it is that we will create our experience. The society has agreed that suffering is a good idea. You know, so many people out of work, so many people in difficult circumstances, and the thought is, of course they have to suffer. But in fact, of course they can choose to have a different point of view. We have had our ability to be at choice sort of taken away, and we didn't even realize it was missing.
Is it hard to get that choice, the ability to choose back? I mean, why do so many people stay in there then if it's that easy as just choosing?
Certainly. If everyone has agreed that it's a certain way, then it seems like that we have to rise up in rebellion. But it's a rebellion to be able to be positive, to be able to, you know, to hold happiness as our first choice, to get into a monogamous relationship with our own happiness.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the suffering that you were just mentioning and talking about. I know a few people like this, actually quite a few people, and I'm sure maybe you at home feel the same way, that there are some people that you see that when they suffer some type of traumatic loss or a traumatic event in their life, they deal with it in a very different way than a whole other group of people. Why?
Well, the truth is, we have all of these different beliefs that support how it is that we are out in the world. Some people believe that suffering has value.
Okay.
They believe that worry is preparation. Of course, worry hasn't ever prepared us for anything. It goes back to how is it that we are believing and how we are following our beliefs out into the world. If someone believes that the earth or the world is out to get them, then in fact that's where they are going to come from.
So from what I'm understanding, what you're saying, there's two different types of people. There's those that believe in, that live in that world of suffering, and then there are those that can overcome it and believe otherwise, and that's how they can bounce back from a traumatic event like a divorce or whatnot.
And most people don't realize they have a choice. The truth is, it's like we feel that we're being held captive to the voices in our head. You know, like, what can I do to stop the suffering? And it's all within our purview. We've just forgotten.
Well, Jenny, you're going to stick around because you're going to come back in the 9 o'clock hour, and I'm excited to hear a little bit more about the choice and how we can have the ability to make those choices. And you're going to talk about the 12 keystones to eternal happiness. So we're looking forward to that. That's coming, you know, little like what, 25 minutes or so. So stick around.
Okay.